So let's talk about what is a digitally nomadic school. What is digitally nomadic education? Now, first, let's look back at what is digitally nomadic work. To start with, so digitally nomadic work is the ability to work from plane, train, automobile, fixed office, whether that's a fixed edifice, whether that's your own office or a co-working space or a serviced office or cafe or whatever. So digitally nomadic schooling would work in the same sort of way. You would have, and the education initiative I'm talking about is a global initiative. It is where we would have hubs around the world, and children are able to go and become educated or engage in education, I should say, in those hubs. And so then the question arises, well, okay, so how do you provide a consistency of curriculum? How do you provide a consistency of learning? And before we get into that, let's just firstly go back and look at what the distinction I created about what is education, what is knowledge being a foundation of education. So firstly, knowledge for me, my distinction is when you take information, you put it into action, you create knowledge. Without the experience of the action that you take, so without the experience in life, information just remains a reference library. It's all theory. It's there. It can be called on any time, but it is just that. What you put it into action, you experience it in some way, you gain, you grow knowledge in doing that. And as I said, knowledge is in a cornerstone of education. The other thing that education is, and I talked about this in the intro video if you saw that, is that education is designed, in my book, to prepare the young generation for entering the workforce and for being a productive participant in the workforce, whether they enter the workforce as an employee or as a business owner or anything in between or in government or whatever. So, the workforce as it is now is completely different. How people work in the workforce is completely different now as to how they worked in the workforce, say 50 years ago, or even 30 plus years ago when I first started out in business. Completely different scene. So what's going to happen in the next 30 years, also given the rapid growth of technology, etc.? And if we go back to the concept of digitally nomadic work right now, a digitally nomadic school, therefore, would be where kids would then be able to be educated in these hubs. So the consistency of learning, because that's where I was going with this, apologies, I went a bit off track. So the consistency of learning, the consistency of curriculum. Let's leave curriculum per se aside. Education for me is, when we talk about what is it I want for my son in the schooling system, I want the education system to facilitate his passion for learning whatever he's passionate about. And that doesn't, let's not go near the fundamentals. We'll talk about that in another video. I want him to learn what he's passionate about, to be whatever he is here to be. And certainly there'll be some basic learnings you need to have, perhaps. As I said, different video. So in terms of already existing structured learning, which would be able to plug into a digitally nomadic schooling system, we have things like the Khan Academy. For those people who don't know the Khan Academy, it's an online training and educational information environment, both on the web and in an app, where you can get you can access educational information from kindergarten all the way to university, and across a whole bunch of topics. I believe Bill Gates was behind it. Don't want to misquote that, but I believe he was behind it in addition to the original guy Khan. I think it might have been even Imran Khan, the famous Indian cricketer, but again, Wikipedia will tell you more about that than I can. But it is a phenomenal resource. Also, if you look at universities around the world, large and small, are all providing online education capabilities. In fact, the University of Western Sydney, which is the largest business school, so I've been told largest business school in Australia, their online students outnumber their physical students in classrooms. So online education as a way of accessing educational information around your course material it exists in the world today. It's existed for a long time. In fact, if you think about it, way back when I was a kid, there was this TV show on TV in Australia called Skippy, and the son of the ranger, head ranger at the time, he accessed his education. I think his name was Sonny or something. Anyway, he was the friend of Skippy. He accessed his education through a CB radio, so remote learning. So the concept of remote learning has been around for a long time. It's just become even better through the new technologies, through the internet, etc. So it's the concept of remote learning around schooling has already been there, not just tertiary education, but also secondary and primary education. That concept of remote learning has been there for a while, and now the ability to do that has just become better and better and better with technology. So if we combine the two, where we say, okay, we can have a digitally nomadic environment where we have these hubs around the world, and where will these hubs be? I'll get to that in a second. And the ability to learn online. Now we need in these hubs educators whose role it is to facilitate the passion for learning around whatever topics the child is passionate about. And that way a child could get a consistency of learning as they travel through the world with their parents. Now, who is this for? That's a topic again for another video. I don't want these videos to get too long, but this style of education can suit a whole range of people. In fact, I keep coming across people all the time where I think, oh my God, this initiative would be really, really good for you and for your children. So then where will we have these things? Well, my thinking is this initially. You'd have large multi-corporates, whether it's the top 5 accounting firms or consulting firms or banks or financial institutions or government agencies or hotels or conference centers or sporting organizations or whatever. As long as it didn't involve, drugs, alcohol, sex or things like that. We don't want our kids being necessarily exposed to more than they already get via marketing and internet or whatever, provided it was some relatively neutral thing. Nothing's neutral, I realize that. Everyone has their own agenda. Provided with some, let's call it a safe place, then any large organisation could sponsor a space where this could happen. It could also be co-working spaces or serviced offices or whatever it is. Other education facilities, universities could say, okay, we'll make that space available for the for this education initiative. That kids can come there, to be an educator there, etc. Why would companies want to do this? Well, again, topic for another video, and I will definitely get to that. So please, look on the page and you'll find those resources. But it will be in the best interest, short and long term, of any organisation to want to sponsor a space for kids to go and learn this way. So digitally nomadic learning, what is it? It is the ability to travel the world, get a consistent level of education, and have your education facilitated in a way where people facilitate your passion for learning about whatever it is you want to learn about, and have consistency of the quality and level, etc., that you need to or want to learn. And let's be honest, again, going back to that thing where experiential learning is, and there's research into this. You don't need me to say this, but there's research into experiential learning being far greater than reading from just information from books. So all you're doing is creating that reference library. When you can travel the world and you can taste and feel and touch and smell and see all that stuff that you're going to learn in books about geography and cultures and stuff, and learn different languages if you go to countries where they speak a different language to your native tongue. The ability to do that is going to rapidly increase your learning experience. You're going to get contrast. Imagine, I travelled from a very young age, and when I left Australia, ultimately when I was 17, and travelled to Europe and then to other parts of the world, and you get a different perspective on life. You get a different perspective on the world, on people, on cultures, on integration, on religion, on political systems, on everything, and you cannot help but get that, because you are going to be immersed in it from all sides when you are in a different country. Even if you travel around a big country like Australia, you're going to get that sort of thing. That's a whole different thing. So digitally nomadic learning would enable kids to be able to get a depth and richness of education which they cannot get just in the classroom alone. It also enables kids to enter a workforce which is coming, which is already there, but we're not just looking at the workforce that's already there in terms of the digitally nomadic workforce and the co-working space workforces. We're looking at what's coming down the pipe in the next 30 years. So if this is a topic which interests you, this is a topic that you think, well, I'd like to be part of some sort of initiative like that, I'm building a team. And subject to when you're watching this video, it's either brand new or we're already a little bit further advanced. But if that's something that's of interest to you, then please get in touch and let's have a conversation and see whether we share the same values about education, about life, etc., and whether this is something you could get involved with or if you're already doing something where we can collaborate and do something together, which helps build each other's initiatives up. So thanks very much for watching. I'm Paul Langer. I really appreciate your time. Bye now.